I guess it's time. Lejeune, Raya, and Rox got up and continued looking at Fran, who was staring back at them in total disbelief. I don't know how I just did that. She continued to look over herself as the silver aura slowly disappeared as she was coming back to normal. The others had caught up to her now, still amazed at what just happened. Raya was back in Lejeune's arms, smiling, as she was the only one not in disbelief. I think it was the ring she gave me. It's the only logical reason. She looked at Raya. Raya was still smiling, opening and making a fist, demonstrating how the ring worked. The others watched, fully invested now. So what can mine do? Rox asked, pulling the earrings out of his pocket. He didn't put them on as they looked silly to him, but after watching what the other two objects were capable of doing, he held them out in his hand to show Raya. She shook her head and then smiled, then demonstrated it again, one in the ear and the other somewhere around the body. Rox looked confused. Why would I put the other somewhere else besides the other ear? Raya gave him an uncomfortable stare. Rox rolled his eyes. Fine, whatever. I hope I don't get killed while these things are on. He put one in his left ear and the other where he attached to his right pocket. Is this good? He showed to Raya. She took a quick look at him, then smiled. Why is she always doing that? Is she making fun of me? We gotta move on, Fran butted in. Now, if we have a chance to get out of here. Raya then buried her head back in Lejeune's chest, as Fran took the lead and started running. The explosions were still being heard as they ran, but they seemed to get louder as they got closer. This must have been the right way. It has to be. They were probably still trying to attack the remaining people, Fran thought to herself. As they ran, Raya lifted her head off Lejeune's chest and stared into the sky. After a moment, she started pointing upward. Lejeune took notice and had a glance and saw the lights through the smoke. The lights were coming from the rest of the ships that were trying to leave. How many were left? Will there be enough space for 4 of them? Lejeune thought to himself. As they got closer, they reached an opening of the land where the burning ships had ended. In front of them now were some of the ships and vehicles of rescuers that didn't make it. They stopped running and hid behind some wreckage and surveyed the area. Behind some of the damaged ships and vehicles, there was 3 ships left. Make that 2, as one took up space and shot to the sky. The explosions had stopped for a moment, as there was nothing to be heard or seen as they looked around. There were 2 remaining ships. The rescuers was aiming their weapons toward the sky, looking to shoot the invaders. These were the backups that the previous rescue had called for, and in one quick instant, a loud bang was heard as the ship who just left was blasted. Lejeune and the others watched as through the smoke they could see the fire on the ship, and as the ship had to do an emergency landing some 50 yards away. And then on cue, the explosions came back their way, towards the remaining ships. The rescuers had some sort of royal cry as they fired back in the sky. Fran, Lejeune, and Rox shared a look, and for the first time neither had a good answer for what to do next. All they could do was watch from the safety of the wreckage that was sheltering them from this mayhem. As more explosions came raining in, the ship started taking damage. Some of the rescuers ran toward the middle of the field, leaving the ships unprotected, and started firing away at something that Lejeune and the others could not see yet. As for the rest of the rescuers, they ran inside the first ship, and then came out all the survivors, running for their lives toward the second ship. There were about 15 of them, as they all started making their way toward the second ship, which was about 30 feet behind the first one. Some rescuers ran behind the survivors, making sure they made it. Lejeune and the others watched as one of the rescuers on the first ship made a signal to the ones that were shooting in the middle of the field. The rescuers in the middle of the field made another battle cry as some got taken down by the invaders. As stated before, sometimes Rocks let his instincts kick in and made a decision for the group. The time had come again for him to do that, and he got up and yelled, "Now!" and pointed toward the second ship. Without hesitation, the group got up, and Fran took the lead, who started running towards the second ship. As they ran, some of the rescuers noticed them and started waving them down to come toward the second ship. As they ran, they could finally see who was shooting at them. Through the clouds and smoke was a ship, a metallic black ship object hovering over, making no sound, firing at the rescuers in the middle of the field. All the survivors seemed to make it on board as the rescuers continued to wave down Lejeune and the others to come on board. As they watched, the first ship started taking up. It took off and reversed about 30 feet back and started hovering over the second ship as a shield. As this was happening, the rescuers in the middle of the field made another battle cry and started shooting away. As Lejeune, Raya, Rocks, and Fran got closer to the ship, debris from the first ship was starting to fall down as it was taking hits. 10 feet to go, 9 feet to go, 8, 7, 6, 5. A piece from the first ship started coming down towards them. In a quick instinct, Fran made a fist. The silver aura came back to her, and her hands started glowing. She smashed the piece that was coming towards them to the ground as they all jumped into the ship. A cue was given from the middle of the field as the first ship took off, damaged and all, and started heading straight to the metal black ship. As it does, the second ship takes off and it goes in the opposite direction. Everyone in the second ship is either in the sea or on the floor as it takes off. And in the background, a big explosion is heard.